Testing one.
You good like that? Perfect.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Tuned in to www.oghuskyradio.com. Broadcasting
One,
live.
2. Testing.
We good. We good. East side of Los Angeles, Whittier Boulevard to be exact. Family Fights Inc. You already know the deal. We live and direct. An honor, well overdue. When we were broadcasting out of my garage, we had reached out to this cat, and we've been trying to get him down, but with the move and all that good stuff, and as with anything, man, it's you know, it takes time, but it's definitely an honor and well worked, and it's a great honor to have you here. If you go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm a Phantom Street artist. I played cool and I dig all jive. That's the reason why I'm still rocking since 1985. My motto is I live and learn and stay cool and dig everything in return. Yo.
For those that might not know, let's just get straight into it, man. Your more famous work where people might have like got the first wind of you, you know what I'm saying, was off of that Rage Against the Machine. I'll let you speak it though, you know, just break that down, even how that connect came about and what the art was and the direction you went with it.
It was just amazing to work with some incredible, great visionary individuals that transcended language, culture, music, art, politics, and it was just amazing. It brought us together. A really important critic named Mac Gleason. I didn't even know it was Zach De La Rocha, but we were sitting on the couch, all three of us together. There was another noted artist whose name should be going unknown, but it was me, Zach, and another recognized artist that would be a big hit in the 80s. We're just sitting on this couch at a party wondering what the fuck we were doing there. And only years later, I ended up working with Rage Against the Machine, and it was my honor to work with them. They're a great group of people, and I really respect them in all great regards.
And let's just break down what you did, because you did some videos for them. You did actually, let them know, the album cover, all that. Let them break it down.
I did the album for them, and I also did some really important videos, helped them brand a really unique, distinguished image. And it was just a phenomenal opportunity to work with some great people. Did the album covers, videos, T-shirts, and it was just an amazing journey with them.
PirateFreeTV.com. That's PYR8FREE TV.com. When you guys get a chance, make sure you guys check that out. We'll have the link up by tomorrow, just to blast that out. With that, since then, you've been blacklisted and banned, among other things. But
we did a show in Portland. The title of the show was called Blacklisted and Banned. Essentially, it was a show that addressed power structures of how individuals define what is selectively chosen as the image that you're going to see out there, or the work of art, or the sound, the hip-hop sound that's out there, or the news that you're going to read. People don't understand that this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, that if you want to be a select individual to be marketed and branded, you basically have to sell yourself out. So any of those hip-hop young talent that's out there, or street artists, or writers or authors, essentially is that you have to basically play by a certain code or rules or ethics that can help you move your career and integrate that into the mass media marketing, because essentially it's been bought out, and you have to meet a certain criteria for being bought out.
Are you willing to be bought out, and why do you choose to go against the grain, for lack of a better term?
I'm thinking more like my people think of making statements that are more short term and following through. I see things more historical. I have a great appreciation of history, a great appreciation of culture, and a lot what's out there is a lot of work that's out there is just picked up and then suspended. That's why you see a lot of one-hit wonders out there, or people not having the opportunity. Media is compromised. We essentially live in a state of mediocrity and complacency, because that's what great philosophers and great critics have said about the particular problem in our day and age, is that innovation, great ideas, is too difficult for people to accept. It's that simple. So my agenda and my initiative is questioning our culture in question.
with that, the culture being the hip hop culture, is hip hop coming that hip hop came from disenfranchised youth in the projects in the hood. Is hip hop still that voice? Do you feel?
Well, right now, hip hop is a marketing commodity that is actually being motivated by only a select few. It's people like Jimmy Iovine that give the go sign for what gets played and what doesn't. There's a lot of great music out there that doesn't get the recognition, like, you know, Alien Takeover by Cali and Dr. Zodiac and some really cool people out there. And that's just the way of the power structure. That's essentially what it's all about, is that, you know, you either make bed with the power structure or you're not. And if you're not going to be a part of it, then there's a whole history of exclusivity about who engages and who becomes a part of it.
So then how do we survive within this mainstream, this marketing monster, this big money corporation world? And you know, how do we survive? Do we just totally run away from it, not surviving it, not participating in monetary systems? What do you see, or like what do you see the success in doing something of that nature?
Again, essentially, you have to vote with your feet and vote with your pockets. You have to undermine the corporations. You have to challenge the system and question our culture in question. And that's essentially is the agenda that you have to follow. But, you know, individuals out there are like, pretty much like, you know, pretty easy to influence. And those individuals are not going to have the ability to critique or question or even have the time or the effort. You know, there's these systems that are in place that keep us working those 9-to-5 jobs 24/7 to basically keep us out from making important decisions that manifest and change our lives. Well, now we're dealing with a lot of interesting time. And the time is that there's a 99% Occupy movement that's taking place, where the 1% of individuals are out there are finally realizing that there's 99% of the have-nots that are in existence that are getting forced out. Now it's not just a minority of individuals that are existing in adversarial conditions, but now 99% of people are lost a home, without a job, don't have money. They won't even put people on welfare anymore.
Yeah, actually, what is it? I think the new thing right now they're pushing for is to actually keep it on a 2-year or 1 year. That's all you would get in your whole life. And just do a little reading or research on your own. I mean, you know, just, and especially if you grew up within that, imagine, I mean, me as a kid, I grew up on Section 8 housing, food stamps, the big blocks of cheese, shit, and they ain't ashamed of that and shit, you know what I'm saying? But imagine if you're disenfranchised from the beginning, from when you're born, and they're telling you now you're only going to help you out for 1 year. I mean, just break that kind of shit down, you know what I'm saying? How much more wild do you think these streets are going to get? We're already disenfranchised as it is.
Already moving, many brothers are moving towards the black market as an answer as well. And you see that taking place where a lot of individuals are selling various type of illicit types of activity as the only source of surviving. And so...
Can we survive with just an underground market, do you think? Even, let's say, even within hip-hop culture. If we just... I mean, we download the Drake songs and we download whatever Jimmy Iovine decides he thinks hip-hop is, but we actually support and buy a CD, something tangible, with like, you know what I'm saying, merchandise from the level. You think we'd be able to survive realistically within this marketing?
Corporations are defined about trying to destroy communities. And what they're trying to do is like, so if you look at the hip-hop kind of model of small communities, it's essentially what's happened. Because Napster, if you remember that, was a particular response that started as an internet phenomenon to sell, share, which is a shareware culture. Now that's commodified. Now that's already marketed. That is already shut off. And who are the people that own it? Google and iTunes. So within a strong, over less than a decade, Napster radicalized the whole market. And then the recording industry,
Yes.
the RIA or something like that, actually made sure that they were going to sue the people that would download, and they successfully did.
Yeah.
So we have the corporation is challenging the individuals and the visionary individuals, and it's only going to get worse.
Do you, okay, I've been reading for quite a while on some time, but do you think the internet will be regulated?
I think it will be. It's too much of a commodity right now. It's too much of a threat. And I would say within a decade in time, you know, people are going to buy out those channels that are really going to be what you once knew, and they're going to be cable. You look at the Cage versus Khan felony fights phenomenon.
Yeah.
That's getting hundreds of thousands of hits, and where's it moving to? That's the future of the MMA.
Yeah.
And so I'm also going to be reporting on that because it's very important to be a voice, to really engage and be a part of media and understand public relations and understand publicity, understand the model. I'm talking to all the brothers, sisters out there that you've got to educate yourself because that's the only out in this closed-in society. And so you've got to get out there and find that mentor, engage in that intellectual discourse.
What is it that changed for you, for the Phantom Street Artist, that you didn't engage in this corporation, especially with the talent that you have, can easily go mainstream, corporate, sponsored? Why not choose that route, or why don't you do that?
It's a very simple concept. My concept is about a contingency of value, which essentially says is that as values always forever change, my values are already defined. So I believe in things that are really substantial, as having the ability to speak out, having something really substantial to say, and not sell out. You know, a lot of individual work out there as an existence is just basically simple, formulated things. You know, and I challenge that structure. That's why I challenged Shepard Fairey to fight me in a cage, because of economic and political and creative differences. He essentially buys himself a public relations firm to be the person, to be the marketing brand that he is. And I said, well, let's just settle our differences in a cage match.
So you're pretty much, I mean, for those that kind of just took it in stride, you're pretty much saying that you'll get in an MMA cage fight and you will fight Shepard Fairey for your differences.
I don't see why we shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with that. And
what is it? Is it what else is it besides that? I mean, he pays for marketing. Is it because of the paying for marketing? Like, just break down. You know what I'm saying? What is it that would want you to, or what's the beef? Like, you know what I'm saying? More in detail.
Well, if you guys listened in, I mean, it's a very detailed kind of critique that Shepard Fairey has basically been exploiting indigenous cultures, revolutionary cultures, robbing essentially individuals who don't have representation or legal ownership of their property, and essentially he's novelty made the particular items as T-shirts. Renee Medeiros, and please check that out on YouTube. Go to Phantom versus Giant, which is my detailed challenge match, which says basically let's go at it. And I am not the only critic that essentially is critiquing his brand in question. There's a lot of individuals out there like Mark Valance, an important, great artist, and some really other important Just Seeds, Matt Gleason, and some other prominent critics and individuals that are questioning the methods and applications of his.
Even on that level, we just had the Mocha just did I don't know the exact, it was an LA hit,
Art of the Streets,
Art of the Streets,
yeah.
And we had originally we were trying to get you in during that while it was going on. I actually am probably one of the only people in LA that didn't support it, and it was because of your campaign, for lack of a better term. But chopping it up with you before we got on, even more so, just anybody that stands by something, if I'm not too sure, I'm not going to support it. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't look right. But on an LA level, you just said that Chaka wasn't featured in that museum in the installation they did.
That's right. Let me explain this real simple. Everybody in LA who has a history of understanding LA street art knows Chaka. And these individuals who are provincialists came out from New York to commodify their select few individuals. And they didn't pick Chaka. They didn't pick a lot of indigenous Americans. They didn't pick a lot of Chicanos. They didn't pick a lot of important people like Vile, Asylum.
Wow.
Some really prominent individuals that are very well. Mir had to call in ahead of time to say, hey, put me up. and they just put them up on a wall. Now, this is an example of how the MoCA, the Museum Machine, art gallery museums are using media, public relations interests to try to promote their own intention, their own agenda, their own initiative, and they don't include. It's an exclusive world.
And I don't recall where I read the article, but one other article I had read is that they had originally pieced up the outside of the MoCA, and there was some kind of dollar bill sign or some kind of monetary symbol that was used, and it was done by artists. And then the MoCA, being whoever, whatever, had them redo it. Because
That's right.
Is it, what's the?
That
do you
was
know
that was an Italian artist named Blue who came out and painted the walls, and Jeffrey Deitch was on vacation, and he had an agreement, and as a result, their friendship dissolved over it because it was too much of a challenge to the individual community that Jeffrey Deitch wanted a work that wasn't going to be challenging, that was going to be marketed as a commodity, as something that was going to be fashionable and trending. And then you talk about graffiti, that's probably one of the most progressive art forms that says what the fuck is on his mind, and you try to compromise that and not allow it to basically speak its mind, you're going to basically be commodifying, you're going to compromise, you're going to make it complacent, and that's what that show is about. That show basically, once it censored the work, then it wasn't going to allow any particular work. And that's when we and a group of really important artists, Leo Limon, who was a veteran, a whole bunch of other people, all the other people that I want to protect their interests because they want to still have a relationship with MoCA.
Definitely.
I salute you. But myself and Leo Limon were the only people who pretty much gave our names. And we protested that, and that generated great interest across the United States, across the world. And we tagged all these great people. And then we're talking about Yo Peace and all these great individuals, Esti Ochoa, all these really great artists out there that were willing to go ahead and put their time out there and really make a statement and really question that particular power structure.
And then I have to ask you too then, will graffiti, quote unquote, or graffiti art, then will it ever really get its just due in a museum?
You know, what's happened is essentially graffiti has already become a part of it, but it's not our history as we see it. There's a battle going on. Not only is there a battle going on for dollars, monies, wealth, position, power, radio play, but there's also a battle for history. And right now, individuals are defining history the way they want to.
Wow,
so
yeah.
all of us out here that are not defined, didn't get that contract, didn't get the go sign, wasn't a part of a specific group, that's them defining what history is. And individuals, cats who read it 20 to 15 years, you are being excluded. You're not part of the exclusive. And that's what I'm battling for, and I'm trying to get other people out there to really rival up and understand this particular model to challenge that particular structure.
Where do we stand as a voice then, knowing what we're up against? We're going up against big money corporate campaigns. Where do we stand, and how do you foresee us taking it to that level, like going up against the corporations and stuff at that level?
Well, right now, more than ever, there's 99% of individuals out there that are completely in discontent, and those are the individuals that are occupying right now. They shut down Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street. They shut down Occupy Oakland, and LA, Occupy LA is going to be next. So all those people that think that, you know, it's going to be okay down there, government, politicians, police, they have a different agenda, and more power to you.
What do you think on some other level shit? What do you think? It was that they didn't think it would get that big or last that long, you know what I'm saying, to allow it? Or was it they found a legal loophole to do that? Or
well, the individuals that are really the great visionaries, the individuals that really understand the market, the model, and understand what's taking place. Jürgen Habermas was a great critic. His name was really important, and he discussed things that were really essential and very important in the idea. He critiqued all this bullshit that was going on, that of who's being marketed, and in his day and age, which was almost a quarter of a century, half a century ago, he defined marketing promotion as opinion management, and so he critiqued the industry in question, and he defined what was going on, which challenges the whole issue about who we are and where we're at with this particular power structure. what we have to do as visionary thinkers is to challenge and find new alternative means and ends to change the system as we know it.
For yourself personally, with technology the way it is, what are some of the plans you have to challenge that?
I've always been interested in somehow incorporating. I have a really great digital media activist channel called Pirate Free T, which questions our culture and questions.
PYR8FREETV.com, just so you guys would want to look it up.
This is an alternative that challenges publicity firms and challenges the whole idea of consensus to make news reporting in media, hip-hop, music, art. It's a rescuing of knowledge, it's a rescuing of historical knowledge, where people are not necessarily, it's difficult to find, and raises consciousness. And that's what people like you are doing, Roberto. That you guys are actually getting the message out to people, raising consciousness, affecting individuals, and people out there that have money in their pockets that can still buy things can affect the market, and that's where we're at right now.
Once again, you tuned in to www.oghuskyradio.com. Broadcasting live from the east side of Los Angeles. Felony Fights Inc. shop / OG Husky Radio. Joey Krebs, a.k.a. the Phantom Street Artist, in the spot, dropping some knowledge for y'all. So hopefully y'all can, it'll be in the archives. Y'all could rewind your certain parts. So far, my favorite part is that, man, he's defending Chaka. Just a little history for you guys that don't know, man. I used to ride from, we used to drop off my older brother in boarding school in the Valley. And we used to go down San Fernando Road all the way up to, Mission Hills. And I used to see this Chaka up everywhere on the freeway, on the trains, on everything. Everywhere. But then I would come in my hood, I'll be right there by the projects on Mission, in 4th. I'll be leaving my projects right here on Rose Hills and going down there, and I'll see him, and I'm like, wait, I don't think this dude is, like, from out of town. This dude is from the east side, you know what I'm saying, handling. Later on, I found out that, you know what I'm saying? Projects. Yeah, Project East Side, and definitely, like, even on that level, for him not to be included in the MOCA and for him to inspire me to get into that art, like, how much more, you know what I'm saying?
It's a concerted effort by individual marketers, public relations individuals, directors to sell you back hip-hop, graffiti, and charge you $10 at the door to make you see shit that you grew up on. Yeah. And then not include the people that are representatives of the hood.
Yeah. Repackaging hip-hop?
Repackaging, yeah. Well, now it's, it's shit now.
What got you? Let's go back a little then. What got you into hip hop? Yeah.
For me, I had the opportunity. I was born from a first generation Mojarita from South America, Ecuador. She came to this country and she suffered tremendously a lot. I never knew who my father was, but the court gave me the name Joey Krebs, and that was the name that I identified. But my name was a Latino name, so I realized identity was a big issue for us Chicanos, Latinos, and different ethnic genders. Identity is an issue that you got to get up with every day in the morning and realize from these adversarial conditions, we got to figure out who we are and where we're going. One of the first lessons you got to learn with coming from disadvantaged situations. So I had the opportunity when my mom was constantly moving around. Never had the opportunity to stay in one place. She had 6 kids, and we were going to all these different, churches to search for a particular typical Roman Catholica, and she's trying to get help and support, but
that's what I definitely want to get into, being especially within the Roman Catholic upbringing, the colonized teachings that you're taught. How do you get your indigenous history growing up through that?
Right. I mean, the whole essence, and this is a major big issue that I've actually protested against the Catholic Church, where I actually did an important protest against the individuals that were abused by the clergy. And here's a statistic that everybody needs to know, that a large majority of those individual victims of the clergy, and I'm talking about the last 50 years, I'm talking about a 2,000-year history of the Roman Catholic Church, has been raping its indigenous sons and daughters by priests. And so we did a protest against the Catholic Church where we projected images on that church, but that was not covered. It's too difficult to accept those kind of things,
I could tell you right now, I hate using the word campaign, but anything that you need put out, we definitely will stand by you as an artist. And this is what, when you guys think of art, this is exactly what art is. You know, challenge everything. I know you like to say question, but it's definitely a challenge.
The study of hip hop is a study of the battle. And from the very beginning, when DJs were battling it out, when rappers were battling it out, when and look at the felony fights. Felony fights really restores the value of hip hop because it's about people challenging themselves and integrating to a higher level of being. And that's what people like Danny Zodiac, you know, people like that are really bringing people up. And now that's becoming a real interesting mixed martial arts phenomenon as well now. Cages versus Khan, which is taking place this week, and I'm actually doing a coverage on that and bringing my reporting skills and writing about that for a very important mixed martial arts journey, MMA Weekly as well.
There it is. Involved in a lot of things, huh?
You gotta be. You gotta wear many different hats. You know, you guys, you just gotta, you know, what I keep telling people is to keep educating themselves, keep integrating, challenge yourself to get better. You know, you gotta be able to do many different things because that's our situation and where we're at. You know, we gotta integrate and raise consciousness.
In the form of media and us having this media outlet, what can we do to preserve the culture or to keep this going? What would you suggest in the form of anybody out there that, you know, right now, I mean, start saving the money for when that internet is regulated, or do we abide by those rules? Do we find another outlet? What do you suggest?
Well, you know, communities is where it's at in hip hop. And one of the things that's really important about that is that you have to establish alliances with other groups. People like, you know, one of the biggest problems in hip-hop is distribution. Yes. So you can get it to everybody in your neighborhood, in your hood, but you can't get that work out across the nation. So what tool do you have? You have the media, you know, and you got to establish and develop alliances with visionary publicists and visionary people that understand marketing and people that understand public relations, you know. I mean, the new song by Alien Takeover is really incredibly intelligent because it markets itself as, you know, as the latest hip-hop groups that are out there. When you read it and you look at it, it ain't what you get. So it's using innovative marketing tools and being subversive, and that's what's really great. A great artist will find new means, new vehicles, new abilities, newfound methods, new applications to rock it.
There it is. Embrace technology and use it to your advantage. OGHuskyRadio.com. What would be your first art? What drawing, or what would you say your first installation, or your first introduction, and how it progressed? Like, what was it, through graffiti bombing, or was it through?
That was my first. I actually had the opportunity to meet with the, you know, here's something that you might want to look at too. A lot of, and this is something you might want to question. Remember, a lot of the people that actually got their hip hop came from via the East Coast through media.
Yes.
But understanding that media has so revolutionized the generation of hip hop, we got to be able to question how we are fed that kind of information, because what we are. So essentially what we have to do is decondition ourselves to be able to challenge what we're being spoon-fed by media, and understand that what you're getting at and what's the latest song that's being hit up is by a select few people that spoon-feed you what you're going to listen to, what art you're going to like, and it's basically what we got to do is be able to uncondition ourselves. And that's why I use the symbol of Abraham Lincoln, who actually has to come back from the 18th century to write the new Emancipation Proclamation, and he's riding in pretty soon from the 18th century, so watch out, y'all.
There it is, www.oghuskyradio.com. Joey Krebs, a.k.a. the Phantom Street Artist, PYR, the number 8, FREE, TV.com. Make sure you guys support. Anything else you're involved in? Anything else you want to, before we cut out real quick?
You know, the most important thing is basically is understand the tools, the way you get, and establish alliances with as many different people as possible, and inviting people to be a part of an important collective that you can establish. I have a group called Art Saves Lives, and I'm actually going to be doing a show here pretty soon that's going to be questioning the elements of marketing and sacred economies, and how now the capitalistic market and its economy has essentially faltered. What's taking place is now it's directed towards profit, and one particular individual is going to profit from that, and everybody else is not going to profit from that. And and now it's exhausted. It's exhausted itself. So now in our time, we've got to really challenge the whole economy and what it means. And there's some great authors and writers like Bataille, called The Accursed Share, and there's other literature out there, Sacred Economies, that challenge that kind of economy, the economic system that we exist in, and we have to find other alternatives. Barter, share, black market, different types of economies are going to have to exist for us to survive in this particular time.
In these days and times, where's Phantom Street Artist getting his, what media outlets are you looking at, and where are you gaining all this knowledge from that you're sharing with us?
Well, most people go and they do a Google search and they go, wow, man, this is what I read on Google.
Wow.
But, there's a whole history of libraries, and even those are being shut down. Books. Right after I went to school, I spent my time looking for mentors and intelligent individuals to teach me how to become a better thinker, a better knowledge, a better rapper, a better hip-hop artist, a better street writer. And so you have to educate yourself. You have to understand the different thought reasoning processes that exist out there. Surveys, and being analytical, being pragmatic, understanding different thought processes that you would have to be that better hip-hop artist, or to be the better marketer or publicist, challenging authority, balancing political and social power, economics, public opinion. These are things that we really need visionary leaders out there more than ever.
www.oghuskyradio.com. I want to thank you for coming through. Very long overdue interview. And you know where we're at. You're more than welcome. You'll catch him. He'll be out there writing up for the Cage vs. Cons.com event going down this Saturday at Pico Rivera Sports Arena.
I'll be doing it for MMA Weekly. I'm also going to be having a show, and I'm looking for anybody out there to be part of our collective. We're actually going to be doing a really cool hip-hop act called the Christmas Rappers. And, we like gift wraps. So if you got some style, we're looking for you to be a part of our show out there.
How can they come in contact with you?
Just go through me at Facebook, artsaveslives@att.net. You can get a hold of me through Roberto Torres as well. Leave a message, and don't forget, critique our question, challenge our culture in question.
OGHuskyRadio.com. Stay posted. More interviews to come.